it's summer, and summer means tomatoes. But what are you going to do if you don't have a garden, you don't have any gardening tools? How are you going to grow a tomato? Because there's nothing like a fresh grown tomato. I'm Monica Hemingway with the Gardening Products Review, and I am going to show you today how to grow a tomato with just a bag of potting soil. So here we are. We have a bag of potting soil. Now this happens to be organic. My choice. It's entirely up to you. All of them will do the same sort of thing. Make sure it's potting soil, not garden soil or topsoil or anything like that. You want a potting mix. And if you can, see if you can get one that has moisture control in it of some form. Some of them have wetting agents. Some of them, like this one, has yucca extract, which also helps to retain moisture, because this is going to dry out really quickly otherwise. So you've got your big bag of soil. Now don't get a little one. Tomatoes need a lot of space to grow. They have big roots. They take a lot of water and a lot of nutrients. So you want to grow it in a nice big bag. This is a 55-liter bag. You can grow it probably a little smaller. One tomato in a bag like this would probably be ideal. You could, if you're doing small ones, possibly put 2 tomatoes in here. So what do, right? Well, you go to the nursery and you buy a tomato that's already been grown. It's probably going to be a little bigger than this one. I grew this one from a seed earlier this year. And you're going to put it in the bag. So how are you going to do that? Well, here's the easy way. Scissors. You're going to cut an X. Not too big. All right, but big enough that you can get your tomato in there. So the size of that X is going to depend on the size of the root ball or the pot that you bought for your tomato. I have a small one, it's going to fit in there. Next thing, tomatoes are pretty much the only vegetable other than tomatillos that you can plant deep. In fact, they like it. The deeper you can plant this thing, the better. Normally you would plant something, this deep. I'm going to plant this tomato so that is buried up to here. And I'm going to take off any branches on the lower 2/3 of the tomato plant, and all of that is going to go under the potting soil. Now why? Right? Well, tomatoes will grow roots all along the part that you bury, and the more roots it can develop, particularly when it's growing in a situation like this, the healthier it's going to be. It's going to be able to take up more moisture, more nutrients, it's going to be stronger, and it's going to put out more fruit, which is ultimately what you want. So we're going to put this thing in here. Now to bury that, I'm going to have to excavate in here a little bit. So I'm just going to dig a pocket into the potting mix like that, and then I'm going to insert this tomato so that that top third is sticking out. Now, it looks a little crooked. Don't worry about it. The thing is going to straighten out and grow straight up. Okay. Now you'll see with this, you want to be able to put that back down. It's going to retain moisture in there. It's also going to prevent weeds and other things from coming up in here. But then you can turn it back like this, and you're going to water straight into the bag here. Now when you buy these mixes, these potting mixes, many of them come with fertilizer already in it, 3 to 6 months worth of fertilizer. Tomatoes, though, they are pretty heavy feeders. They like to have more nutrients than that. So once it's in here and I've watered it in, I will water it in with a compost tea. So real simple, this is what I use. Compost tea bags, really easy. You don't have to make your own compost tea. So again, you don't have a garden, perfect. Buy one of these, dump it in your watering can, let it sit for a while, and then you're going to use that to water your tomato. Now, I recommend buying tomatoes that are bush tomatoes or patio tomatoes or container tomatoes. They go by a lot of different names. They only get 2 to 3 feet, maybe like this. Reason being, this isn't very stable. So if you're trying to grow something that's going to go 4, 5, 6 feet tall, it's going to be really hard to keep it from toppling over. And there's not an easy way to add a tomato cage around this in a bag like this. So try growing smaller ones. If you do want to grow a taller one, you're going to have to get some sort of tomato cages, some stakes, build a teepee and an A-frame, something like that to hold it up. Otherwise, it's just going to grow on the ground, and when you do that, your tomatoes tend to rot. So this is one way to do it. This is the easy, no frills way to do it. There is what I think, if you're going to grow in a bag like this, there's what I think is a better way to do it. And I'm going to show you what that is. It does mean you're going to have to buy one thing. And that one thing is this. It's called a tomato halo. And there's a link down below in the video to where you can buy this. There are several places you can buy it. On Amazon really is the easiest way to do it. Funny looking thing, right? But this makes growing in a bag so much easier. So let me show you how it works. So down in here, I'm simply going to trace a line on the inside of the halo. And you'll see, there we go, there's my circle. Once I've cut the hole, I'm going to, now I don't have a trowel, right? I don't have a garden. I'm just using the scissors to loosen up the soil inside that hole that I just dug. Okay. So next step is I'm going to take this halo. Now this is a really interesting contraption. You can see it's hollow, right? And it's got these spikes here. And those spikes are also hollow. When I put this down, I'm going to put this so that it's right over that hole that I dug, and I want it to go down inside that hole. So that might take a little bit of digging around, you know, you've got to get the bag out of the way. But you want that inside rim, here you can see how that's going in. You want that rim to go inside the bag. And when you do that, these spikes go through the bag and directly into the potting mix underneath. Now that's important. You want those spikes to go all the way down into the potting mix. The reason you want those spikes to go down into the potting mix is this outer bowl here is where you're going to water. You're going to fill it with water, and it will slowly feed the water down into the bag around the roots of your tomato. The tomato is going to get planted in this middle section. Now remember I said tomatoes like to be planted deep. This makes it really easy to do it. You put your tomato in, and you add soil around it. Now you can see the tomato is planted nice and deep. We've only got the top third or so of it sticking out above the potting mix. And we've got this watering well around here with the spikes going straight down into the potting mix. And this makes it so simple to water. I'm just going to fill that outer ring with water. Now again, this is compost tea. And it's not going to immediately go down. It's going to slowly go down into the potting mix. So every day or so, I'm going to come out here and just fill it up, and that's it. Makes it so easy. And I've had really good luck with tomatoes like this. I've grown them on the deck where they didn't get enough sun, but they did really well. And I was able to create some supports for them, growing them in these plant halos. And there you have it. That is how to grow tomatoes in a bag of potting soil. If you don't have a garden and you don't have any gardening tools at all, buy yourself a halo or just go with the bag of potting soil directly. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for joining me. If you'd like to see more of this, please subscribe. There's a link right down below here. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We put out a new video every week. You can also find more tutorials, how-tos, and reviews of gardening products over at gardeningproductsreview.com. Bye for now. Wow. That's a rock came out of the potting mix.